But I guess, speaking of movies that don't deserve Oscars, next up we have Paranormal Activity 2. So, pretty much, if you guys remember the first movie, there was a house that had paranormal activity in it. And they recorded it with cameras, and this movie has the same thing. Only it's a family as opposed to a couple. A family with a young teen daughter and a newborn child, and there's more paranormal activity. And it's just great. And those kids, because of things are moving, and well, I mean, nothing moves for like 48 minutes, but things are creepy and stuff. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, so it's Paranormal Activity 2. It's pretty much like the first movie, only I'll be honest and say I actually liked it a little bit more. It's not easy for me to say why that is, but I'll try to think of something while you explain how you feel about this one, Track.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have a stab that maybe for you it's a little more enjoyable, just because there's more characters, there's just more people involved, I guess, this time.
I do have to say, the element of a family as opposed to a couple does add a little something, because I think the couple from the first movie, who actually on a side note do show up in this movie because this family is related, which I thought was a really interesting element. But the couple from the first movie had these, I know every couple argues, but they had these like stupid arguments and like backbiting from both of them, and and at least this family unit is, they seem like an actual family, a privileged middle class family, but they seem like an actual family. So I do think that added a little something more to this one. I don't think it hit it over the top by any means, but I will say that's probably a big part of it.
Yeah. Well, I actually saw this one in theaters. Lucky me. Look, I'd pretty much go watch almost any horror movie at that time. And look, I somewhat enjoyed the first movie. Like, enjoy might be a strong word, but I thought it was decent. Now, I don't think there was a whole lot more to really add that could have taken it higher than what the first one did. I mean, the first one was a pretty simple movie. It made a lot of money, and that's why it's got a lot of sequels. I remember when I watched this at the theater, I actually didn't I felt like I enjoyed it more or less somewhat on the same level as the first movie. But as I watch it again, I actually don't. And I think a big part of that is like what you alluded to earlier, that, there's not a whole lot happening, especially in the first half of the movie. And, it's like, well, we've kind of seen this before in the first movie where they just build and build. And in fact, I thought the first movie did a little bit better, if not only for the addition of a lot of the scenes happening seem to be a lot darker, and I don't know, just a build up towards some of the occurrences just felt a little more creepier, like, just occasionally hearing footsteps and maybe something slightly moving and happening while you sleep. I don't know, the thought of something standing over you while you sleep is just, that creeps me out a little bit more than just random pots and pans flying around and,
That pool cleaner just tramping out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking, like, I'm glad the wife made a big deal about that at some point, because I was thinking, like, is anyone going to question that? I mean, it just seems so stupid. And I guess another thing is the fact that these guys have cameras all through the house. I'm just thinking, you've got no privacy whatsoever. I mean, you can't go take a shit without someone watching you or potentially going back and watching you.
I feel like if it's a family, you can probably trust that each other aren't watching other family members stuff, okay? But that's just me.
Well, no, I mean, not if you've got younger siblings or older siblings. But look, I kind of do like the fact that this one connects somewhat with the original movie. We've got what's her name, Katie. I refer to her as Big Boobs. She has some involvement here.
I personally find her advice somewhat shit, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Just don't talk about it and it'll be okay.
I guess the other thing with found footage movies is, I mean, they're trying to pass this off as recovered footage from, some real life event, but it kind of kills it at the end when you actually have legit end credits for all these characters.
Yeah, I just want to say that to my knowledge, there has been absolutely zero evidence of supernatural or any paranormal activity. So as soon as they come back with actual evidence, just let me know, and then I might take this whole "this is based on a true story" thing a little more seriously. I have to say that's like a big pet peeve for me. Found footage is a very interesting style to make movies in, and I think it's actually done a lot of, it brought a lot of things, potential new ideas to the genre. But trying to pass it off as a true story when everyone knows it's fake, I just don't get what the point is, and I immediately take away at least 8 points for that. It just pisses me off so much.
I don't know what the difference is between the regular version and the extended version, but I watched the extended version. I don't feel like it did anything for me. So I'd hate to think what the normal version was. I don't recall what it was when I saw it in theaters.
Yeah, I have to admit I probably watched the original version, and so I have no idea what footage you saw that I didn't. But I have a hard time believing it would make a whole lot of difference.
Yeah.
The ending to this one was interesting, but for some reason, it's just some it's supposed to be like an emotional punch in the gut type ending type thing, but it didn't do anything for me. And I suspect a big part of that was because I had to sit through the first hour and 25 minutes before anything of moderate interest happened. So the ending, I can imagine some people in theaters were like, "Oh my god!" But I think I woke up for a few moments and like, "Oh hey, that's almost okay," and then I think I went back to sleep. So it's just, all of this is to say this is really not my type of movie. I wasn't a big fan of the first movie, and I do think this movie is marginally more entertaining, if only because the family unit makes it a little more, I guess, a little more depth thrown in there. I did like the whole element between the teenage daughter, believing in herself, and the father sort of, throwing it aside, It was, family elements, but even so, I'm throwing this one a 4.5 out of 10. I'm going to round it down to a 4 out of 10, and much like the first movie, I just got very little enjoyment out of this, and hey, maybe the third movie will be better, so.
Well, I also saw the third movie in theaters, and from memory, it's not really any better.
No, I'm not hopeful.
But probably not really any worse either.
Hey, at least they're consistent.
Yeah. So for this one, I'm going to throw it a 5. And look, like I was saying earlier, I just felt like the original one was a little creepier. It progressed, or built up to its finale a little bit better than I thought this one did. And the ending, I thought the first one had a little more of a, let's just say, better ending.